Hello, this is my capstone reflection. My topic was the multifaceted effects of social media. So, my mission was to look into the different effects that social media has to offer. And I know that this was a very broad topic. So, I narrowed it down to just four subjects, including educational, relational, business, and political. And during my design process, I used Canva to create a PowerPoint presentation that highlighted the main points that I wanted to include in my video essay and giving some examples beyond that and finding out pictures that worked, graphics that fit in. And I just wanted to make everything look organized and colorful. And I was able to do that with the help of pre made templates. So, here are some of my research highlights. I organized them by the categories that I had. So, for political, I found that social media has now become a platform for fake news to sway audiences, and making now that social media is more prevalent, it's a lot easier for people to become manipulated and believe just anything they see online without fact checking it first. And I also found that 65% of Americans believe that it has made our country more divided, which is something that I honestly agree with. I've mentioned this in previous videos. And I also found that it builds a politician's image that television ads can't quite produce, especially because a lot of younger audiences are on social media instead of watching TV. So it builds the trust between younger audiences, meanwhile, builds trust of older audiences through TV. And I was able to see that with my Zoran Mumdani campaign. Next up for businesses, I found that it brings brand awareness to social media helps bring brand awareness to brands because they're able to use platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and they can use hashtags to cater to the type of audience that they want to bring in. And I found that they have, in order to successfully run a brand online, you have to be skilled in staying ahead of the curves. And what I mean by this is that you have to be prepared for technology to change as technology is constantly changing. So it's better to be prepared for that change rather than not. Next, for educational purposes, I found that professional networking from sites such as LinkedIn was extremely beneficial. And a lot of, as for myself, I have used LinkedIn a lot this past semester and I've grown so many connections. And it's something that can be really beneficial for our education system if we use it correctly. Another research highlight that I found was that educators found students distracted and absent from school due to mental health issues, and they also found that social media was a distraction to students. Next, for relationships, my final topic for my research was that communicating boundaries between your significant other in regard to social media is extremely important because coming in with that expectation, you know what to expect and what not to expect, and just keeping those boundaries is what can help a relationship flourish. Next, I another thing that I found interesting was how different generations allow the media to affect their relationships. A older couple might see social media as not that big of a deal, whereas younger generations see social media as a lot bigger, a lot of a much bigger deal than what it needs to be, which is something that I found really interesting. It's very understandable, but then I also dissect more about that into my blog. Next, I have faced some challenges while I have been working on this project, and I've one thing that I found was hard was trying to maintain or finding a stance between the good and the bad, and whether I think social media is entirely good, whether I think social media is entirely bad. But then I came to the realization that it all depends on how we create that balance for ourselves. That's pretty much a personal opinion. And if we use social media for good, then we will find it good. But I think a healthy balance is extremely important with social media because pretty much too much of anything is not good for us. And I believe that the relevance of my topic to today's day and age is that as our media continues to advance with new platforms being released, it's really exciting to see how these four components will be changed, will alter as these things change. I know that with the job market, it's changed. We don't actually have to go in person for applications. We can apply straight on LinkedIn, Handshake. And next, my closing statement. In today's world, digital communication, information, and media have come together to create a society that orchestrates multiple ways to communicate and form opinions based on our interactions. The upbringing of media has resulted in audiences participating heavily in the digital realm, creating a sense of community between users. It's extremely important to understand the functions of our society and continue learning about it as technology evolves in the future. And this is my thank you statement. So, thank you for watching, and bye bye.